I still remember it quite well. It was February or maybe the end of January, and I got into this discrimination case that you can see in my previous videos that I had mentioned. And I was at the peak of my despair, and I said to my friend, well, it doesn't seem to work out. I cannot find the flat. It's impossible. And I just want a place for myself. I want a home for myself and for my books. And she told me, okay, have you asked your books to help you in the flat search? And I said, no. And she said, yes, well, you should try, because books are very powerful. And I went upstairs because I lived in my friend's room, and I asked my books for help, and I found the flat within the next few weeks. So you don't have to listen to anything that I'm saying further, because I obviously bewitched my landlord. I don't know. Moin, dear people, old, new, my friends, the friends of my friends, my relatives, and anyone in the world who found this channel and who might thought that it could be interesting for them. My name is Anna, I'm not in Germany, a survivor, a fighter, a writer, and on this channel I talk about the topics that interest me and about mental health awareness. Sometimes I do vlogs where I'm trying to, rewind. Also, recently I started traveling, and that was my first travel since I got my refugee status. You can watch this vlog. I think it's very touchy, and I really put my soul into it, and I think this is the video that I am personally going to rewatch, because I don't know, I think it's very sweet, and you can see my friends there, 2 of them, and yeah, generally I think I did a good job, so watch this video. And also I talk about literature, and sometimes about crafts, sometimes about politics, a bit of everything. And today's topic also involves politics, and this topic is quite complicated. It's a bit controversial. It's hard to say who is right and who is wrong, and this is the issue that makes simple, ordinary people suffer in Germany. And I was getting through the process of my searching for a flat, and I found the flat in the end of March. The flat became mine, and now finally I'm getting myself together. I'm settling down a bit because a lot of things were going on. My laptop died and I had to buy another one, and this one is refurbed, so it wasn't expensive, and I don't have high expectations from it. So if this bad boy survives during the time when its guarantee is still valid, wow, amazing. And the walls, as you can see, are still white. I want to put some decorations. I just struggle organizing my life. And there are always things that are prioritized and they need to be done right now, and I don't have time or energy left for decoration, but I've got a plan. Hopefully, slowly, it's going to be solved, this problem. And right now I also enjoy the fact that my flat is not, finished. It's not prepared 100% for being demonstrated on YouTube, or I don't know, to my friends or whatever, because I really enjoy the fact that I'm furnishing it bit by bit, and I am putting decorations and buying some stuff slowly, and yeah, it's also a part of myself learning how to live and slowing down. And yeah, I think we should pass over to the topic, and I'm going to talk about finding a flat. I'm going to start with the first thing and with the historical point of view, how it all began. I like it. Why is it so difficult to find a flat in Germany? Then I will share my experience, how and how long I was searching for a flat. And in the end, I will give some ideas that I consider important. That not exactly ideas, but something, not exactly the ideas, but something that can save your time and money, and something that I consider very, very important. So yeah, let's get started. According to Google, it's hard to pinpoint the year when the situation around the flat search in Germany became so bad, because it has been a gradual process starting from the Second World War, the end of the Second World War, mass migration from the territories occupied by the USSR, etc., etc., etc. And I would name 2015 probably the year of the refugee crisis. And after 2015, there were no improvements anymore. I believe so. Maybe some people believe different thing, but I think after 2015 there was no improvement anymore. There were more and more people coming to Germany, and there were fewer and fewer flats to live in. Here I have to point it out that we are not blaming refugees. It's not their fault that they had to flee from their country and that they arrived in Germany, went through a lot of troubles, and now they have nowhere to live. And they live in Wohnheims, in these dormitories, where I was supposed to live too, but I was lucky to have my friends, and I lived with my friends. But it's nobody's fault that they cannot find the flat or the place to live in. Or we can blame the system for it. So please don't write things such as these horrible refugees are taking all the spaces. It's not appreciated on this channel. The diarrhea curse is waiting for you in this case. So after 2015, the situation is worsening. And what have we got by this moment right now? If you Google the housing problem in Germany or flat search problem in Germany, something like this, you will find comments and stories from lots of people who are desperate and hopeless and who are searching for a flat for themselves for years and years, and they cannot find anything. By the way, by the problem, I mean the problem of finding the housing. I mean finding affordable housing. Affordable housing, something with the fair ratio, like the space offered, the state of the building, and the price. And it's all not extremely far from the infrastructure and cities. Okay, those are in high demand. And who seeks an affordable place, an affordable flat? You would say everyone. Everyone wants to have a fair, affordable flat, right? But there are also people, so I agree with you, but there are also people who, for example, 45 plus, middle-class Germans with stable jobs, with everything being tiki-taki in their lives, and they have 2 cars per family, and they can afford something like a house, something more spacious, something above the price range. And there are also people who are not having everything tiki-taki in their lives, and they are competing with this small number of affordable flats. So who are those people who are affected? Well, I will start with refugees because here I am. If you watch my channel, you know that last year in May I got a refugee status, and also I know many refugees or people with the background of a refugee or migrational background, or also, for example, Ukrainians with their special status. So yeah, us, those people, the evil of Germany. Nice to meet you. Also, people young and maybe a bit older who live solo, and there are plenty of those these days because people are more liberated. They don't necessarily search for a partner or any partner just to have a partner, and they don't mind living alone till whatever term they want to choose. Also, we have families with children, young families, or solo parents, and students, and anyone else who can come to your mind. And here you see that it's a vast range of people. Plus, in addition, all these people have a similar picture of a flat that they would want to have. Something not too small, not too big. For example, if we talk about not like, basic needs, but something that would be perfect, and something that would be perfect would be like 2 rooms. Like 2 rooms is great, like 1 room is your bedroom, 1 is the living room, something with a spacious kitchen, the bathroom. Some people maybe prefer a bathtub, which is more typical for older flats. And the number of these flats is very, very, very small. And people in Germany, they stick to their places, and they don't mind renting places, and they live in these places for many, many years. So there is no mass movement from place to place, unlike in the United States, from what I know. I don't know for sure, but from what I know, this migration from state to state is not unusual for the United States. You can correct me. Eventually, we've got many people, the demand is high, and the offer doesn't match this demand. And in this situation, as I had already said, there is no right or wrong. Personally, I feel sorry for everyone. People have to live somewhere. You must not live in the street. You have a right for searching for a flat in Germany. Also, what is funny, in the German constitution and in other constitutions, there is no firm right for a place to live for you. So it's up to you. Technically, if you feel like living in the street, you can live in the street, but people must not live in the street. It's not normal. And people must live in good conditions. They must have space to rest. They must have place to spend time with their friends or with their loved ones. They must have space to enjoy themselves. Okay, and even if they want to work at home, they must have space to work at home. It's something normal. It's something normal to ask for proper treatment from your government. But unfortunately, in the reality, it doesn't happen. And as people cannot find a place to live, many people, there are conflicts, very unpleasant conflicts. For example, place called Glinde, it's close to Hamburg, still Schleswig-Holstein. What is good about Glinde? It is connected with Hamburg, with the Hamburg transportation system. And Hamburg transportation system is better than Schleswig-Holstein transport system. Okay? And this is the positive thing about Glinde. It still takes some time to get to Hamburg. And what happened there recently? The town hall, or the town council, I don't know, they took several flats in charge to offer them as social housing, social flats. And eventually people, young families, they are not capable of finding flats because the big chunk of these flats was given as social flats, and not everybody has the right to apply for a social flat. I'm not sure what the law is. We don't have these type of flats in my town. In Glinde they have them. From what I know, there is a line, a queue, if you like, and you join this line and you are waiting, and also a lot of bureaucracy involved. You need to provide the state with some documents. Really, I don't know how it works, and I'm sure it doesn't make it simpler, for people who are searching for flats, because they also have to wait for a long time. But there is a serious conflict. A friend of mine who works there, she says that, it's going to be a civil war. I hope not, but I understand every side in this conflict. And you might be watching this from another place, not from Germany, and you might say, what's the matter? Like, what's the reason for that? And the reason is that there are not enough houses, not enough buildings. And also the reason for that, respectively, is that there are higher standards in building. For example, in Germany, it's not like in Russia. In Russia, they can build multiple buildings, similar buildings. They don't really care for building standards, so they save on everything on which they can save. And in Germany, it doesn't really work out. There is also the distance, like the obligatory distance between the houses which are supposed to build. So you must not, like from your window, see through another flat, if you understand what I mean. Also, it is supposed to be something of the decent quality. And what they do in Russia, for example, they make walls so thin that if you sneeze on your first floor, somewhere from the 6th floor might say, "Bless you." In Germany, they don't do that. And this situation is two-sided. I personally cannot stand these Russian ghettos with the similar houses without any infrastructure. But when you search for a flat for years and years and years, you feel like, okay, build at least something. And also, of course, bureaucracy in Germany destroys everything. If Germany dies out one day because of bureaucracy, I'm sure. By the way, I have a question to people from Austria. Maybe there are people who are watching it from Austria. I have questions to you, because from what I heard, in Austria, they're handling this situation much better. I don't know. I heard rumors. As we say in Russian, a bird brought it to me on her tail. So share, please. Or if you know someone from Austria. As you may understand, since there are not enough flats, it happens that landlords are allowed to do whatever they like. They're spoiled for choice, especially in places like Berlin or Hamburg, where people want to get a nice, affordable flat somewhere close to their work, for example, or somewhere closer to the center for this or that reason. And you can see, if you Google these pictures, where people are standing in very long lines, and it's what it is called in German, a Besichtigungstermin, an appointment when you go to look at the flat, and there are loads of people, hundreds almost of people looking at one flat. It's another big issue because the audacity of these landlords, when there is a mediocre flat and there is a real casting for this mediocre flat, it's something that they find incredible. And also, it's unbelievable what is sometimes rented as living space, as a flat or as a room. I have an example of my friend, and she's studying in Leipzig, and there was a point when she was searching for a flat or for a room for something, and there was time pressure because her studying was about to start, and she visited also with her mom several places, and once she came to this viewing of the flat, and it was a triangular room, no bed, no table is fitting this room into this room, and the landlord said that, oh, it's okay, you put a mattress, you sleep on the mattress at night, and in the morning you put the mattress to the wall. And it was not a cheap option, it was over 500 from what I remember, but it might be not, I don't exactly remember. What made the situation even better, it was the fact that it was some kind of a community where my friend, was officially not allowed to bring boys there, and the landlord was also pressuring her to make a decision right now. After she returned from that visiting, we even questioned how legal it all was. Maybe let's pass over to the fact that, yeah, I found the flat, and I want to say some points. I want to point out certain things that I encountered on the way, how the process was going on, and how I ended up getting a flat, although there is not much of a description how I got the flat, and a bit of the statistics that I gathered already after I found my flat. So, first of all, I have to say that I live in a small town, and I was searching for a flat mainly in this small town. And was it easier to find a flat in this small town? Well, if you want a recommendation from me, like what the easiest place for finding a flat is, if it doesn't matter for you, like mostly people do care where they want to live, but if it doesn't matter for you, Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, very beautiful, former DDR, and one of the emptiest regions of Germany, and there it might be relatively easy to find a flat. You can try it out. Generally, it's easier, although I don't know how much easier to find a flat somewhere away from big cities. For example, I have a friend, she used to live near Hamburg, and she lived in a WG, Wohngemeinschaft. It's like when there is one flat and it is shared between several tenants. And she had to move very urgently, because there was a conflict between the tenants, and also the landlord was not super understanding, so to say, and he was kicking her out literally, and she was searching all over Schleswig-Holstein without any certain pinpointing, and she found a flat within a month and a half or so, and she now lives in Bad Segeberg. It's between Kiel and Lübeck, somewhere there, and the flat is nice, affordable, I think, from what I heard from her, and she's quite happy. But she searched all over the place, and also what issue we have, like people with the refugee status or Ukrainians with their special status, they are not allowed to easily move from state to state and from one place to another place. There are complications. So it was a hell of a job to do, to move from near Hamburg to Bad Segeberg, and I really respect my friend for the fact that she managed to do that. But I am Miss Stubbornness 2020, 2021, 2022, 2020. I am Miss Stubbornness. If I decide something, I work on it till there is nothing I can do anymore. And I had been living in my town for a long time, and my dream and my goal was to stay here. If you want reasons, well, the reason is that I really, really love this place. Must be enough already. But also I love Hamburg, and you cannot say anything, but I cannot live without Hamburg. It's my heart. I love Hamburg. I love Hamburg. It's just a piece of my soul. It's a piece of me. I cannot be separated from Hamburg. At least right now, I don't see this possibility for me. And but there were also other reasons. One reason was that job center. I belong to the job center here, and almost every district of Schleswig-Holstein has their own job center, and job center is very, very reluctant to do their work and to pass the documents from one job center to another job center. And I really didn't want to do all this work. And also I had seen a lot. I moved a lot. I fled from Russia first, then I had to leave France, and I was happy here and I wanted to stay here. And also my closest friends live here, and Timmy. The statistics. Actively, and wow, surprise, I have been searching for a flat for 8 months. 8 months, crazy. And around 10 months, not actively, I got my asylum, and after that I took some time to look around. I wanted to look around, freak out, be terrified. How am I going to handle all that? And yeah, during this active 8 months, I was invited for a Besichtigungstermin for viewing the flat. You can guess. I'll give you some time. I can even dance a bit. Okay, do you have your guess? Okay, 4 times. 4 times I was invited for a Besichtigungstermin. And one time was in August, the end of August, to the end of September, or the second part of September. I don't know, maybe landlords just had good mood. I don't know. And my last one was in the end of February, and it was the flat that I eventually got. As you can imagine, I sent slightly more applications, slightly more than that. I sent hundreds of them. And according to that tradition, like to the European tradition, many of them were ignored, like totally. I even had an amazing case when I was invited for Besichtigungstermin. I was alone there. I was offered a contract and then I was ghosted. Ghosting. It's such a thing in Germany and also in France. People don't respond to emails and you feel like emptiness, like an empty space, like something that is not worthy to react to. It's unbelievable. Mostly I was searching for a flat in my town, but I had my moments of despair when I was so disappointed. I really stopped believing that I can find anything in the place. So I started to search all around Hamburg, on the north, south, west, east, everywhere, every place that is available with some kind of transportation, like regional trains or like, I don't know, something from where you can get to Hamburg. And that was the time when I got into this trouble with this discrimination case. You can watch my previous vlogs from somewhere, January, February maybe. And if you're interested how this case is developing right now, they tried to delete my comment twice. So far I'm standing. They were also threatening me, like, long story short, there was a flat. I applied for a flat. I had to call them. They told me that the landlord doesn't want to have anything to do with the job center, and this is direct discrimination. And they started to accuse me of, after I wrote a comment on Google Maps, they started to accuse me of lying. They started to say that they are a very good company. This is like a makler, I don't know what it is called in English, a company that helps people to rent their flats. And they started to say that actually they're so great and they do so much for refugees, and actually they cannot help everyone, and they were saving my time. And also, they talked in the office and the workers said that this conversation never took place. So I don't know what exactly I was accused of, because all these three things just contradict each other. So yeah, in your flat search, discrimination, unfortunately, is a big issue, and you have to come to terms with the fact that, unfortunately, you will never be the first choice. Like, you really, I don't know, sometimes I feel like I have such a nice flat. They could have found someone better. And I really felt like, okay, were we so miserable that I was not the most miserable? Although, yeah, but I'll also talk about that. I'm not that miserable. Maybe that helped me to find the flat. And discrimination that happens quite frequently, that company, they were quite intelligent, because usually people, if you ask them if they have anything to do with the job center, no one will say that no, we don't, because it's direct discrimination. And also they are not allowed to inform people why they are refusing them to give an invitation for viewing, and maximum they can say something like, yeah, we are full, we already have so many offers, we'll contact you later. But usually they don't even do that. Okay, they don't waste their time, they just don't check their email, I believe. Also, the problem is that some landlords, let's say in Berlin, they are like, you know, this good old post-Nazis, omas and opas, grannies and grandpas, and they grew up in this environment that they were allowed to be mean just because they have more privileges in their lives, because they were lucky to be born in the first world country, and they don't change with the times. And with those you might have a lot of troubles if they choose you as a tenant. Even it might lead to many problems, but yeah, it's another thing. And generally, from whom you can rent the flat. You can rent a flat from a private person, you can rent a flat from a unity or a cooperative, or from a makler. It's like a person who helps a private person to find tenants. But these ones so far are my least favorite. Maybe I just had a negative experience. I don't know. Maybe you had positive experience with maklers. You can share. But of course, it's rather like for the informational purpose, because unfortunately there is not my choice. Of course, maybe the best thing is to rent from private person. Why it is better to rent from a private person? Well, they see you as a person, because they do care who they are renting the flat to, and they do ask questions: who you are, what you are doing, or if you don't work right now, what you're planning to do, your German knowledge and stuff. They are interested in that. And this is, for example, my current landlord. They were the only people who asked questions, who asked for Schufa from me. Fuck Schufa. And also, they don't tend to ghost you. Every private landlord who I wrote to, they responded to me, although not everyone invited me for viewing, but every one of them took an effort to respond to me. So they really saw me as a person, not as just like a problem that is hanging on their mailbox. For me, it's valuable, I think. But of course, renting a flat from private person also has its disadvantages, such as post-Nazi omas and opas, for example. And also another problem is that there are too few of them, of the private landlord, but it's not impossible to find one. And renting from a cooperative is another thing. And to rent from a cooperative, there are some positive things. For example, probably you can get a bonus. For example, there is a cooperative in the north. Generally, it's called Neue Lübecker. And if you had already rented a flat from them, you are prioritized if you need to find another flat. So you go as a priority. The negative thing that if you had never rented a flat from them, you probably never will, because your turn will never come. But otherwise, yeah, they tend to ghost you because they have loads and loads of emails. And the buildings that they rent, they tend to be older buildings, and maybe, so yeah, there can be mold and stuff. But generally, I believe, yeah, these spaces are livable. There are also advantages of renting from a cooperative. But yeah, so far it didn't happen in my life. I was completely fine with renting from Vonovia, for example. It's also another company. And generally, cooperative own quite some flats. So I was searching for a flat around December. I was getting manic. I was getting depressed with the fact that I cannot find a flat. I was about to get a paid Immoscout, but fortunately, these German websites, like originally German websites, they don't like accepting originally German bank cards, and they prefer to accept PayPal. And then Elon Musk calls on Germans to vote for AfD. Coincidence? I don't think so. I cannot tell you if it's worth it to pay to Immoscout, because I was searching for flats on Immoscout. I found my flat on Immoscout, and there are many other options. Couldn't get PayPal for quite some time because I'm Russian, and 3.5 years ago, the European Union and the US decided that restricting Russians with using PayPal and MasterCard and other things will end the war. And on the 4th year of the war, I must say, probably you should have stopped buying gasoline from Russia. That could have been an option. But okay, yeah, I'm not talking about politics, and this video is already going to be very, very, very long. I didn't buy Immoscout, and I cannot say if it's worth it or not worth it. And I believe that Immoscout generally is the website that is enough. You don't have to use any other website. Maybe eBay, it's called like Kleinanzeige or something like this. Also you can look there. And otherwise it doesn't matter, you don't have to use any other website. And also in December I ordered Schufa, and I hate Schufa. Schufa is such a messed up concept, because I ordered Schufa. You have a right to ask for this report for free once a year, but this report will be in this kind of a mess, in this mess of the data, and the landlords, they want to see a nice certificate, beautifully formed, beautifully shaped certificate that you have to buy for 30 euro, and it says that it's valid for 6 months, but on Immoscout they say, well, 3 months. Excuse me, and also it's a big question, like how they gather information, because from what I discovered on Google, it's according to legitimate interest. They collect data from telephone companies, from banks, but at the same time, when I got my certificate, I didn't have debts, but my score already was like below. I had 400 instead of 100. They always say 100, but mine was like or 300 or 200. So yeah, it was a bit below, and I thought, what have I done? And also you look into information and you think, where did you take this? Where is it coming from? So it's so messed up and so unfair. Also paid Immoscout is unfair. And yeah, it's so unfair. Crisis, let's cry. I right now feel like in this Russian meme, like where a drunk guy is saying, and I was shot and I fell into a puddle, god damn it, meaning that I saw so much. But yeah, I'm sitting in my flat and I am very, very, very grateful to whatever, the universe, myself, or whatever that helped me to find this flat. It's not perfect, has an open kitchen, it's quite small, but I'm very happy about it. Also, I can give you examples of my friend who moved to Bad Segeberg. Yeah, well, maybe it was not ideal for her, but right now she's happy. And also from my integration course, I know one guy who was living on Ulster. If you are aware of Hamburg, you know, it's somewhere in the center, with his brother, and then he found a flat. He found a flat at Berliner Tor. If you know Hamburg, you also know that it's quite central. It was a good flat, two-room flat, and he spent 9 months, also like me, to search for a flat, and eventually he did find. So how do you search for a flat? Well, you scream, stamp your feet, denial, depression, acceptance, you order Schufa, or you find any other proof that you have some income, and collect anything, like papers from job center. They might not ask for it, like bring everything. You will regret if they ask you don't have it. Otherwise, just carry everything. Schufa, they don't ask for Schufa. Here's my Schufa, do you want it? Makes sense to bring anything that might be valuable, that might show you as a responsible person, because of course every landlord wants to rent a flat to a responsible person, a person who's going to pay on time and well, and to someone who's not going to destroy their flat, so to say. And yeah, search for anything. Of course, if you're a post-Soviet person, you don't need to bring your kangaroo Olympiad from the 6th grade. Yeah, it's sad to say, but yeah, they were useless guys. I also did a lot of those. But okay, if you're a foreigner, you cannot get Schufa immediately. Bring anything. If your parents pay for you, any slips, electricity slips, I don't know, your previous rent, a letter from your previous tenant, even if it was somewhere in the United States, translated into German, like anything. I feel like in this question, if you are overconfident and you have the audacity, and if you take, I don't know, some electric device like an iron, and if they ask where is your Schufa, you can say, well, I don't have Schufa, but I have an iron. Why I have an example of an iron? I don't know. I feel like if you have the audacity in yourself, if you give the attitude, you're capable of convincing almost anyone. Probably. I don't know, you can try it out. I'm sometimes not the most convincing person. And then what you do? You write one nice email, preferably in German. You check it out, ChatGPT, whatever you like. You put everything nicely as they like, with all this Anrede, like dear blah blah blah, sehr geehrte Damen und Herren. If there is no name, if there is the name, put der geehrte blah blah. And don't tell your whole background, your whole life story. Just give some key points. If you don't want to talk about your financial stability, it's better not to lie, I believe. Just say as it is. Don't invoke any pity, because I also had times when I just I heard that it's extremely difficult to get a flat as a person who gets help from the job center, and I wrote like, yeah, maybe I heard that it's hard, but maybe you can invite me for Besichtigungstermin. Nobody invited me. So yeah, you write confidently. If you don't want to talk about your financial state, avoid it, because the main thing is to convince people to invite you for a Besichtigungstermin. And there is also no remedy in which, like, there is basically nothing that can, improve your search position, except if you are, I don't know, working like really, really stably, if you're not a freelancer, if you are like German in the 12th generation, maybe, but I'm also not sure, because I send different emails and I send them in loads. And this is another recommendation: send them everywhere where you can see yourself living, and to every flat advertisement which you can afford, or which job center or anything, or your parents can afford to pay for you. Everywhere, because the majority of landlords will not respond to you, they will ignore you. Just continue sending. If you have this audacity, you can even send several times, because here the only way is like the one who searches finds. There is no easy way. And also you regularly check Immoscout and Kleinanzeiger, for example. Every morning, the first thing you do, you check, and several times a day, and you try to be the first person who sent an application and who might be invited. Because if there is an advertisement, this information about the flat that has been there for a couple of days, well, you can still apply, but the chances that they are already full, they won't respond to you even. And happy Hunger Games. I wish I had makeup to turn myself into Effie from the Hunger Games, but I'm a basic girl. My favorite colors are dark green and dark blue, and I don't know if I should buy eyeshadows that are bright to turn myself into a clown every now and then. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't want to waste money and to overbuy something that I don't really need, but I don't know. Maybe it could be useful for videos sometimes. And yeah, unfortunately, also lower your expectations, but be persistent. That's my final recommendation, I guess. And those are the things that helped me to find a flat. So I just sent loads of applications. I went to every appointment. Well, I didn't have many. And I tried to present myself as a person who is learning German, who works or who is actively searching for a job, who has an idea what they want, what I want to do in the future, and to present myself as a person who is stable. And I think I managed. I also feel like right now I'm stable. I have an idea what I would like to do. There is a nice place where I worked in April, and I see myself returning there, and for longer time than for a vacation. And I also have my creative activities, which hopefully probably one day will bring me some income too. And yeah, I think it's all about convincing. And I want to end with the things, just a couple of things that I want to point out because they are important. I want to tell you, if you have a suggestion to rent a flat without an Anmeldung or registered address, you say no, because you are going to have no rights. You are going to have no rights for example, help, like financial help, and also it's going to be unstable for you. You're going to be unstable constantly, because if you don't have a contract for a flat, or if you are not registered on this address, technically you can be kicked out of there very easily, and also you can be scammed very easily, and it is a lot of stress. It is a lot of stress that you don't need. And Also, to find an official job in Germany, you need a registered address. To open a bank account or anything, please, especially in Berlin. In Berlin, I know that a lot is going on in Berlin. The things that are going on in Berlin are not always fair. And if you're offered a room or a flat without an Anmeldung, think twice, please, if you can handle it. Because if you end up in the street, or worst case scenario, or I don't know, someone comes to check and you leave there and you're not registered, or there is a trouble, you don't need that. I swear you don't need that. In Germany, everything is on paper, and you have to have this paper, for God's sake. Another thing, also in big places, in Hamburg or Berlin, don't pay any money before you sign a contract, before you have anything on your hands. Because a friend of mine, or a friend of my friend, but he's also this person, I also consider him a friend, but he's not a close friend, but okay, whatever. He was scammed for 3,000 euro because he was so desperate. He was searching for a flat in Berlin, and also he's from India, and his visa was depending on the registered address, and he was scammed. And this situation resolved itself, so it ended well, fortunately. But there is a chance that in a similar situation, some people might not find a solution, and it might end very badly with a deportation or something worse. So please be careful and hold on to your money before you get a paper, or a contract, a proper contract. People from the job center are a bit more protected, because the job center looks into the contract, they look into all these papers, and if it's something fishy, they just won't allow you to rent this flat. But yeah, if you don't have any support, please be careful. And another thing, if you find a flat on Facebook or something, and if you don't people well for renting the flat, take someone along for viewing this flat, because this will protect you from people with some evil intentions. Okay, yeah, oh my god, it's such a long video. I hope I managed to present it not as chaotically as it is, because yeah, it's chaos. It's pure chaos. This video is going to be insanely long. I'm predicting that, but I hope at least it's going to be useful for someone. And I will leave the time codes as always for you to move easily from one chunk of the video to another. And if you have questions, you know where to find me. You can find me in the comments. You can also find me on Instagram, Anna of Northern Germany. And if you have some suggestions, you can also write them in the comments, and generally you can share comments, share your opinion. I'm always open to, you know, fair opinions and people who think about other people and who want to share their opinions. But if you want to insult someone, diarrhea curse, don't forget about that. Yeah, if you want to give me a bit of financial support, you don't have to do that, but if you want to, you can buy me a coffee on Buy Me a Coffee website. And that's it. The easiest thing is just to give me a like and write a comment. It will help a lot out to my channel. And my tongue is already okay. Thank you for watching, and I think I will be wishing you love and peace from Anna of Northern Germany. See you in the next videos. Tschüss.